And if you're here, there should be 2 sign-up sheets there. Also, if anybody, please turn your cell phones off. All right, okay, I got 7 o'clock. We're going to start, going to open up the Hancock December town meeting. Call to order, please, Debbie. I'll call a roll call, not call. Oh, for the video there.
Present. Here. Present.
Present. Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, move on to item 3, approve minutes from the November 27th, 2023 meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes and then we can discuss them? Second?
Second.
Okay, can I remind you guys to lean into your microphones when you talk, please? Thank you. Okay, discussion on the minutes. Anybody? Sarah, any comments on the minutes?
I sent a couple of things to Debbie of wording changes that were
They were, the corrected ones are not in your packet, but they are here printed for approval.
They didn't change anything of substance?
No,
Okay. All right.
one was to capitalize Zoom and how Brandon participated.
Okay.
And the other one is in the Main Street report from Cindy to say Councilmember Holdren reported that instead of Councilmember Holdren updated the business marketing assistance grant. So it's a clarification.
Thank you. Any other corrections or anything to minutes? Okay, all in favor of the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. It sounds like it's 5-1, 5-0. Yeah. All right. So Brandon is not on Zoom, correct?
He's not.
Okay, thank you. All right. Public presentations, public hearings. We have no public hearings scheduled. Public presentation, the agenda says the Hancock Farmers Market, but they're going to defer until February. They don't have quite everything what they need to get ready yet. The next step is council action, 2024 meeting schedule. Matt, I guess that's published in here.
Yeah, it's on page 7. It's the exact same format as it is currently. Planning Commission on the first Mondays of the month at 5:30. Personnel Committee first Tuesday of the month at 3:30. Waterfront Committee is the second Tuesday during the season. Economic Development is the third Tuesday of each quarter. And the Town Council is, of course, fourth Monday at 7, except for December when we back it up a week. And it's the 16th this coming year. So we need for you folks to adopt that schedule so I can post it and publish it.
We need a formal to adopt it.
Yeah, does everybody, let's make a
So
motion. Second,
I second it.
questions about the schedule?
Yes, I do. January Personnel Committee meeting, first Tuesday, it says holiday, but that's January 2nd.
Right, I believe that Cindy asked me not to put it on January 2nd. I mean, I'm happy to put it on the 2nd. It makes no difference.
I don't think we have.
The Waterfront Committee, I looked at this closely because I'm calendar challenged, so I had to study it. June the 12th, Waterfront is supposed to be second Tuesday. That's a Wednesday. We want to move it to a Tuesday.
So that should be the 11th.
Let's check that.
Town Council on May 27th, that's Memorial Day.
That's when what?
Memorial Day.
Bring it back to the 20th.
I don't have a calendar in front of me.
It would be the previous.
What 1 month? We're looking at May?
Is there-
No.
May 20th or the following?
Now, the next one would be May 20, that would be June, would be to move it back. So at May 20th, there's nothing wrong with May 20th. Any problems with May 20th?
And December 16th, that's the third Monday, but you clarified that.
Yes.
Okay, and planning commission, what time is it? 5:30?
Planning commission's at 5:30.
Yeah, because the agenda keeps saying 6, so we
There was that
No.
one, well, it said it once, yes,
Okay.
because that's when the public hearing was.
Thank you.
So if there's not a meeting on one of these dates, we publicize that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, right, because some of these might not meet every single, I mean, the waterfront well, the waterfront does meet, yeah, okay. All right. Okay, all right, so any other corrections to that? So we've changed two things, so we've changed the waterfront committee is going to meet on the 11th, and the town council is now on the 20th in May, is that correct?
Right.
Everybody agree on that? Okay, and then, do December, what's December meeting is 16th, yeah. Okay, all in favor? Any more? Only one, gotta have more than one vote here.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Okay, carries. Thank you. Got that. Council discussion, back on the town plan fixture discussion. All right, we got this, Matt, we got this results of this survey. That's, hope you're going to explain a little bit this to us here.
Basically, the graph on page 8 is the easiest way to do this. It shows the concepts, 7 and the number of votes each one of them received. As of the time we printed this, we got 126 responses. And then the way that they score it, pardon me, is they take the most number 1 votes, then the number 2 votes, then the number 3 votes, and accumulate it into a score at the very end, where the score for concept 1 was 5.18 and the concept 2 was 5.03. So that would mean that, but the concept 1 is the favored. The point that I would make is that these got voted on, in the exact same order except one in the order they were presented. So I'm not sure that the ranking was adhered to as best as it can. So what my suggestion would be is pick the top 4 and shuffle them up a little bit. But if we don't, it makes no difference. You guys are going to make your decision and we can just move on.
Can I ask a question? Are they all dark sky compliant?
Yes.
Well, 7 is?
All pictures will be dark sky compliant.
Well, okay.
But some allow,
Dark sky compliance.
Easiest way for you to do that would be to go to darksky.org,
Okay,
and it teaches you an awful lot about dark sky, but generally speaking, it's a downward facing light. That's appropriate candle power.
but these
for
are
the
not
purpose.
downward facing lights.
Many of them are. You have to understand that the light would be on the top,
Tapping.
even though it's surrounded with glass, the light would be on the top shining down.
Okay. I have a question. How did you determine this score? I was never able to figure it out.
I
5.18.
didn't. That's Survey Monkey that did that.
All right.
So on this, you've looked down at the table, it says concept 1, it says, 33.33. What's the 42 number? Is that the number of
That's the number of
first place votes? Okay, correct. So they're,
Sign points for the first place and sign points.
right, yes, right. Okay, so, yeah, so it looked like to me that almost, a lot of people voted for number 1, first place, and then even though it's only slightly ahead of concept 2, yeah, it's a little tricky to, so, well, Hill's coming next month, right, to talk about this again, correct? I mean, to present their whole plan. So we can redefine, I think I think you're right, people were a little confused about the election process, on this thing, because they did.
But it was a picture and a number. So what was confusing?
Well, I mean, the fact.
Right,
that-
I don't understand what the confusion is. There were instructions included.
Inside the survey itself was how to move your choice
Up to the top?
Right, so the fact that we went
It was just
1,
click,
2,
click, click.
3, 4, 6, 5, 7.
Even I did it.
But what are the chances of it coming back like this, that each one of them is a little bit less than one ahead of it? I mean, that sounds like probability is pretty the last one is the number 7, get the last, it's, that doesn't sound right. If, if you're just a status.
Suggesting maybe one more where you folks pick the top 3 or 4, and then we just shuffle them around so that it's not 1, 2, 3, 4 based on the favorites.
So, and two observate, or one question and one observation. The question is, am I looking at it correctly that number 3 is the one that had been the
It was.
the straw poll preference previously?
Yes, but there were also, that was the one that was included in all the color drawings and all of the scenes on the street. So there was, yes, they showed concept 1 and 2, but they showed 3 in all of those pretty colors.
Okay, and then the observation is that with the, and I'm sure you were working with what you had, so no complaint, but the mix of some drawings and some photographs on a street made it hard for me to say apples, 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 apples.
Agree.
So for me, I mean, I kind of, I don't think 3 belongs in the spot, but I think 1 looks good to me.
All right, so I was going to get some kind of order to this thing. So why don't you, Matt is suggesting that we remove some of these if we have another thing. So let's have your top pick and then a couple picks that you would want to see off the poll if we do another poll. Yeah.
I would like to make a comment. I don't understand why it's on. Oh, sorry, it was not. Can't imagine you couldn't hear me. I don't go shopping and just buy things without looking at the cost. So could you give us some idea of, are all these similarly priced?
I honestly can't answer that until you pick one.
So we don't know the cost of any of them at this
If
point.
you want me to price the top 3, I'm happy to.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, that's why if we narrow it down, if we,
One of the comments was made, just do this, just do it. I think that, we have to recognize the people of this town are very intelligent. They knew how to take the survey. We've got the results. I say, let's move on.
but the results are, the statistical difference isn't much between 1
We got
and
a
2.
top 1.
Yeah, well, let's go back to what my original thing, let's go ask your top, what one you like, and then the one that, at the same time, what do you think that doesn't need to be on further
Okay,
consideration?
one other question, after the list of the 7, there are several others. Are those spec sheets for ones that are in 1 through 7? Or are they effectively 8, 9, and 10?
No, that's a great question. What I did was I went to darksky.org. Once I saw the top vote getter, I went to darksky.org. They have recommended companies with fixtures. And I went and picked some that were kind of as close as I could get, or at least in that general family.
Okay.
So, if I were looking at it, I'd be looking at page 14. Looks like kind of the drawing that Hill put together. And this came from a vendor who's endorsed by darksky.org.
Okay.
Matt, I just have a question too. These will be mainly in the downtown section, correct?
There's a couple of different thoughts on that. One, the first phase would be, yes, absolutely, it would go downtown.
Okay, but the point is that the downtown should be well lit in the evenings. And I saw on some of the photos, it looked like almost like a spotlight and then darkness. And I'm thinking that we need to consider that it's lit.
Each of the LED lights, you can change the warmth, then you can change the diffusion of it.
We could put more lights in too, couldn't we? More than,
You could put more than what are more fixtures.
yeah, than they're
we
currently there,
have.
which would be
Or
expensive,
you
but we could do
change
it.
To be, fewer fixtures, higher lumens, more fixtures, lower lumens. There's
Yeah.
a lot of ways to do it.
And
And then I
because,
want to address the second part of your question is, yes, it's going to stay downtown, but then each fixture also has an arm that connects it to a regular telephone pole. So you can have the same fixture throughout town without having to put poles all over the place.
right,
So that would be, and those are the ones that are purpose lighting. So I'll make it up. In Mount Prospect, you might only need what's called contour lighting. So you can see where your feet are while you're walking the dog at night. But downtown, you're obviously gonna need a lot more because there's a lot more car traffic and things like that and sidewalk traffic. So you can have the same fixture meeting multiple purposes, and we don't have to have the decorative poles all over town because we can hang those fixtures from a telephone pole.
so that works, so that you have, I mean, it allows you to regulate if kind of the amount of light that you're putting out.
That's
Okay.
what these LEDs do. They can do just about anything that you want. In fact, they can have dual directional, so you can have one on the sidewalk, one on the street. There's a lot of different things that you can do. But we really just need to get the fixture selected so that then we can start saying, okay, this is the functionality we need.
Thank you.
Would you define downtown, please? I've seen so many different definitions of it in here.
And it is from College to the Wharf. And then basically from DMV to the Williston, that quadrant.
All right, so back up to what, so if we want to get prices on some of them and we need to pick a few, and then you can report back to us when Hill's here, and wasn't it part of their contract to provide specs? I mean, give them a manufacturer that may,
Yeah. What fixture they're finding a manufacturer for.
so we have to give them information, yeah, okay,
You know, just to get like the spec sheets from
right.
darksky.org. I mean, I have the manufacturers if you pick
Right.
if you pick a fixture.
All right, well, let's back to Sarah again.
Okay. So I would say 1 is 1. And 3 is toss. And 5 is toss. And the others are neutral.
I don't understand what you're saying.
My favorite is 1. I
Sarah's
don't like
favorite.
5, I don't like 3
3 and
and
5.
5. The others are neither here nor there.
Okay. Mavis?
I only like number 1. So, that's the only one I would vote for.
Okay. Cindy?
In looking at the entire package, including the extra fixtures that were not in the survey, on page 16, it throws in the word economical solution.
Mm.
So I'm wondering if perhaps we ought to throw that into the mix to get a price, so we get some price comparisons.
Oh, I don't see that.
The World War I helmet.
I was gonna say the very same thing.
Well, I don't
Really
even-
ugly.
It really is.
Yeah.
But that wasn't,
Why would you even think about it?
but that wasn't one we voted on. That wasn't. in-
No, no.
Well, I mean,
You're throwing it
I mean,
out there.
unless they're giving it away, I don't know, but. that's-
Okay, no one else likes that idea.
No,
Oh, please.
I mean, yeah, I understand.
Page 16, it shows what I was talking about, how the LEDs up underneath.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And pointed down. That's what all of these are going to be.
Okay, good.
Okay, so you still haven't given us what you,
I'm not as crazy about number 1 as some of the others. I think the little pointy peak on top looks more colonial than our town. I would substitute, I think that was in there, concept 7, simply because it has a more rounded piece on the top. And leave it, where's 5? Yeah, 5 I'd throw out too.
So you just put in 7 only?
7 instead of, in Sarah's list, 1, 2. Do I only get 4?
well, you can, no, I've only just two. I mean, it doesn't look like we're getting past one.
So
I
you
want to
put-
totally throw out 5. And I'm going to leave in 3 because some people did like that.
But it's your opinion.
And I want to throw out one.
That's what he's asking for.
That's what
Or
I'm saying.
her opinion.
Yeah. yeah.
And she said she threw it in because other people liked it. That's all, just asking.
Well,
Okay.
She's
That's my
welcome to
opinion.
consider other people's opinions and.
Yeah, okay, oh, all right, okay, fine, fine. Okay, go ahead. Okay, Joy.
I'm voting for number one, which is what the people said they want.
Right?
I like 2 and then 1. But maybe we should start off with a new catalog. You want to do that?
I'm sorry, what?
Just kidding.
What did you say?
I was joking, a different catalog. One other though about price, we don't want to look at not just the initial price, but you know, the materials it's made of and the quality, because service and longevity are gonna, you know, something that's gonna be dead in 3 years versus something in the last 20 years is be very
Yeah.
important. So we gotta look at that.
Which brings me to the very point of the lights that we have at outside here and at the gazebo, and those lights came up with Bob Martin. And how long ago was that?
Well, they were free.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
They fit the bill, they serve the purpose, and they have the look. I'm just saying that was a lucky buy or a lucky deal, but look how long they've lasted, and you know how long ago he was here. I don't. It was just before, it's almost 30 years,
Yeah, well, I mean,
at
they're-
least 30 years. So we got to look at something that's going to be at least 30 years. Saying to what Ray is talking about.
all right. All right, well, so we got, and I kind of like number 2 better personally, and 1. So I think, so it looks like the top 2 are the ones, concept 1 and 2 are the most vote getters. So
Yeah,
maybe we get,
You go with the little.
Yeah, I'll get information.
Back one.
yeah, if you can get us some more information on both of those, get some costs and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
So concept 1 and concept 2. You want me to
Is
break
that, is that everybody agree with everybody? Any problems with that?
I would like-
Huh?
I would like that.
Okay, I think I think,
Works.
okay, all right. So, and Hill's going to be here and maybe you can talk to them and see if they can have some ideas as well. Okay.
So to be clear, we're not sending out another, good.
Okay, all right. Okay, committee reports, personnel.
The
Cindy.
Personnel Committee did meet this month, and in closed session, we discussed personnel matters. That's it.
Well, we discussed, personnel, well, yeah, someone personnel, employees. Okay, yeah, that was, yeah, something we can't talk about. Yeah, okay. Okay, Nancock Main Street, you're on again.
Okay, so I've brought to you this month the upcoming grant applications for 2024 because the council had said that they wanted to hear about these as early as possible in the year. So the first one is the Virginia Tourism Commission Micro Business Marketing Leverage Program. And Main Street had used this previously to support small businesses during the shoulder season. That won't be available until June, so this is nothing urgent, but I just wanted to mention it. That does require a 1-to-1 match in cash or in kind. The second one is the Virginia Tourism Commission Marketing Leverage Program. And we have, or Main Street has used it previously to drive visitation to Nancock as a destination. That one will be available, or it gets published around February 8th. And so we'll be coming to you the next meeting with a specific plan for how Main Street would propose to use this. And we'll need a resolution for the council if you choose to support that. Historically, it's been $20,000. And as I said, requires a 1-to-1 cash match. Then finally is the Department of Housing and Community Development Virginia Main Street Downtown Investment Grant. This grant is available only to Virginia Main Street organizations, and we expect to apply for these funds each year. Last year, you'll recall that the town council voted to support it, but we didn't receive the grant. So your matching funds were never expended for this. We've used funds from this grant in the past to create the gift card program which has seen an uptick in usage. Jenny reported to us today, so that's good. We've used it for the mural art that you've seen around town. We've used it to fill empty windows with banners and provide marketing funds to the businesses. So that'll also be available in early February 2024, and it requires, well, the maximum grant amount is $75,000, and it requires a $37,500 cash match.
So the match is half of what the grant is.
The-
I'm sorry?
Anything else?
Oh, I did want to report too that Main Street and the town met this month and had a very productive marketing planning session. And we've discussed it, and I think Matt and Jeff Verdem have worked on beginning the draft of a townwide marketing program, which would help us integrate all of the organizations doing marketing so that we're not overlapping each other and hopefully complementing each other's efforts and meeting as many needs as we can. And of course, the organizations will get a chance to have input into this, and it will come to the council for us to review before it's adopted, of course.
Since you're talking about grants, would we qualify for a CDBG grant like Parksley got for their downtown? I know that when we received it for the Northeast neighborhood, there's a period where, and of course, that's still an ongoing grant. Do you think the time is right that we could go to ANPDC and apply?
I don't know that we could apply. Matt will have to speak to that, but I think that we could certainly explore that with Ann Doyle or whomever she
Right.
designates and get more information, because I don't think it's ever too early to start. Because that could help fund some of the improvements that we need downtown and in throughout the town.
Instead of using our reserves?
Yes.
Yeah, I think there were, at times you couldn't have two going on at the same
Right.
time. And so we'd have to find that out again, but whether we're wrapping this one's wrapping up, I don't know. Still,
No.
it's still got a ways to go, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But we
can
can-
we perhaps invite her for February?
Well, we can probably,
Yeah.
let's just talk to her first.
Bill
Okay.
is here February.
No, they're
3rd.
January. I think. January. Yeah, why don't we we
Oh.
can get up with her, talk with her. We don't need to come to the meeting, find out what's going,
I would like to explore that
Oh,
possibility.
yeah. I mean, and she can probably tell you right away whether we're eligible right now. If we have
Right.
another grant going on, then it's that question pretty quick. And then if she says yes, then maybe she can come and talk to us about what she can do.
Well, we'll see Eric tomorrow at
Yeah, you
1
could ask him,
o'clock
yeah.
and we'll ask him
Sure.
if it's a possibility
Yeah.
that we could get
Yeah, because I
in
mean,
the lineup, so to speak.
all righty. Any other questions for Main Street? Okay. Historic Mancock School, Sarah?
The last month has been very busy with the Artisans Tour and then being a home tour sale site and Artisans present again on the Saturday a week ago. There's not as much scheduled in January, but there will be a bigger Wine Wednesday again in February, not one in January. The mitigation plantings for the RPA for the pavilion have been done and blessed, and so that is checked off. And just trying to get fundraising geared back up again to be able to pursue the pavilion.
Any questions, Mavis?
No.
Okay,
Thank you.
Planning Commission, Brandon's not here. Matt?
Quickly, we spent the time talking about the parking concerns for some of our businesses downtown and starting to strategize ways that we can maybe help with that, especially as the residency is going to be increased upstairs downtown. So we want to make sure that we address all of those things. And then we're going to revisit that again this coming month. And then also we're going to be reviewing the minimum lot size, because we've got places that have established lots that are less than our minimums. And if somebody wants to build on that, that causes a problem.
Another,
Correct.
another observation about parking. In front of Priscilla and Phillips and Ann's houses, DOT has deemed that the last parking space is at one place. Saturday, I saw a car pulling in to be the third car closer to the square than the last marked space. So can we, I mean, I don't want us to get the reputation that Eastville has as far as speeding, but on the other hand, if it's not a parking place, you shouldn't ought to be parking there. So can we ask the
Now that we've-
police to begin to
They've already, I think.
alert
doubled the
people that
number-
that's not a parking place?
Yeah, they've already doubled the number of parking tickets they gave last month versus the month before.
Okay,
So now that the guys are out of the academy and they're just about done with their field training, they can start to ride independently. And speed enforcement and parking enforcement are something
Okay.
we're gonna focus on.
thank you.
When will they be able to ride independently?
A little bit of that depends on the holidays and the schedules for Chief and Captain Whitelock. She has another medical treatment coming up, so she's gonna be out for a little bit. And that causes some delay in the field training. So it will be soon, but as soon as Chief can rotate them through. If you remember correctly, they have to have 240 hours of supervised field training in order to ride independently.
Okay, any other questions for so the planning commission is going to give us their recommendations for the, yeah, they're gonna, okay, so that's still a couple months off, correct?
Yeah, it'll be at least a couple months off, and the way that it'll work is that.
Hold on.
You'll get a recommended change to existing ordinance.
Yeah, what,
I just had a clarifying question. In regards to the planning commission reviewing lot sizes, is that for all residential districts, business? What are we talking about?
Do we do this during comments?
it's a question of,
Okay.
you know, she's just asked a question of procedure.
Right now, we're looking at R1C.
R1C, which is mostly the,
And
Well,
Matt,
no,
that Lisa's coming to the point that I was going to ask anyway about lot size. Are they not grandfathered if they've already been used forever at this current size?
If they're building new, they have to comply with new code.
And so that's where I have a lot across the street from me that's for sale in R1B, which we don't have to follow the same rules as R1A. That's why I'm asking if anybody buys it, are they gonna be able to build on it? That's the only reason why I was asking for the clarifying question.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics on that, but I'm happy to help.
all right. Anything else for planning commission? That's it? Yeah, okay, and they're not meeting in January? Okay, all right. Waterfront, we didn't meet, no, there was no waterfront meeting. Yeah, it's closed up for the winter, so,
Well, one comment on waterfront, the waterfront with the lighted boats is
Yeah.
really beautiful.
yeah, they did nice. Yeah, thank you all, whoever the sailboats and everybody's boat is really pretty down there. All right, Economic Development Authority, Joy,
We have not met. We meet tomorrow at 6.
don't we have do we have a vacancy? Do we want to?
That, do we
Councilman-
want to discuss that now?
Well, yeah, you can report on that if you want. You want to report on why we have a vacancy? I don't think the council knows
Oh,
that.
You
They-
want to report on why we have a
Yeah,
vacancy?
we have a vacancy, just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we have a vacancy because one of the members was not a resident of Hancock or the adjacent community, and that is a state code. So now, council appoints, just as we have appointed the original EDA members, we appoint, I'm going to ask the EDA to, just as we did the first time, to post it on the website, Matt, and ask for resumes, and then we'll go into session and discuss them. And follow the same procedure that we used originally.
Any comment?
Is everybody good with that?
That will be the standard operating procedure for now and forever. I mean, as far as.
That's what we did originally, and I
Exactly.
think that
All right,
that's,
okay,
Sarah, you're good with that?
I'm good with
Cindy?
that.
We do have one application already
Yes.
to replace Jeff because Jeff was appointed as a Main Street representative. The only reason we established an EDA was because of the $1 million grant through the IRF that Main Street applied for the Williston building. And so I think personally, and obviously I'm probably biased, but I think
Yeah,
it's a
you are.
good idea for Main Street to be involved in the EDA at the board level so that all of the information is given to them that they need going forward about the loan, the what can be done with it in the future, all of that information the EDA needs. And so I think obviously Main Street is the best organization to give that to the EDA. And I would, even if we don't do it this meeting, I would hope that we do appoint someone with Main Street ties to that team.
I had, from your last report, this is still burning my hands. There were a lot of questions and things that needed to be answered before anything else, I would think, in here. And I don't know how we do that. Is there a procedure or process, or do we come to a meeting? How do we answer these questions?
Those are going to be addressed tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. On the agenda is the bylaws, which basically most of those questions. And our attorney, Mr. Gregory, has said he would serve as the EDA attorney and the town attorney. He does that for many localities, so he has no problem with that.
So he has to be paid from two pockets or one pocket?
One pocket is what I understand. Do you understand that, Matt? Yes.
Okay, so the same attorney would be for this organization as for the town, and you think that's a good representation for either?
We will discuss that tomorrow night.
Okay,
We've not met since those questions surfaced.
Okay,
So tomorrow will be the first meeting. EDA is defined as an autonomous organization.
and funding was a question in that, and where did the funds come from? So I may.
Lots
I
of
see the mayor
questions.
saying
It might be a
that-
little out of order here, yeah. Well, I mean, those
but-
questions will be in, yeah. they're
Okay,
gonna come
but
up,
I
yeah.
think
I
these
understand
are-
what you're saying,
It's
yeah.
really a lot of stuff, heavy weight in here that I thought needs
Yeah.
discussing and answering. So we'll get there.
So the,
We're on it.
so
Okay.
are we gonna post the opening for resume, is that what the council wants to do?
Must be a resident of an Hancock or an adjacent community.
Can be a county resident. Like, an adjacent community would be Accomack County, correct?
According to Mr. Gregory, it sounds more like, did you read that as county?
County, I said County of Accomack.
That's right.
Okay. Okay.
That's the problem with this speaking.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna put that, you're gonna put that on the website? The EDA
you-
doesn't have a website, correct? EDA does not have a website, so you're gonna post
No.
it,
On the,
and they're gonna submit them to the council, and we will, is there a date that
Regular
they need to be in? We'll vote at the January meeting. Yeah,
accepts resumes.
let's give a couple,
Yes, I'm okay. I'd like to see some resumes, and I think it'd be nice to have somebody else from the Main Street organization to represent them on the economic development for NACO.
okay, so, can we make a date that we have to have them in by, so we don't have a cutoff date? I don't know, 10th of January or something, I don't know, what? Or 15th, we want to vote on next meeting, when's the next meeting?
January 22nd.
Yeah, so let's, we want to circulate them around to us, so let's say by the,
Like the 15th.
Yeah,
January
give us-
6th.
give it early enough so you can get it in the agenda, yeah,
Right.
so the 15th or so, yeah. Yeah,
And I would echo Ray's comment that I think it makes a whole lot of sense to have a direct conduit between the EDA and Main Street, and not to have to go third hand and lose information and lose that coordination.
okay. Isn't there a FOIA thing coming up too on tomorrow?
4:30 tomorrow evening.
Okay, that's open to, anybody council coming to that? You need FOIA?
I am.
Yeah, okay. Okay, if you haven't got FOIA, you need to do that. Okay. All right, Yes.
Yes.
Right here. Yeah, it starts at 4:30, correct? And Michelle Gowdy's coming over. And if you haven't met Michelle, she's really, she's great. Just
Helpful.
very helpful. She knows more. She's probably forgotten more about government than we know. You know, she's really good. Okay, we're on to public comment and, only got one name on here, but I'll take, Rosemary Papero.
Oh, I'm impressed.
Yeah, hi, I'm Rosemary Papero, and I'm a member of the EDA. And the question I had was actually, when I looked at the scheduling of the meetings, I see that the EDA is only scheduled for quarterly meetings. I don't recall that we ever made a resolution at the 2 meetings we had, and I looked at the minutes that we would only meet quarterly. And my concerns are that there is a existing loan where I understand the terms have not yet been settled. There's also another loan application pending. And I think that we have a bit of a way to go yet on the administration and the functioning of the EDA. So I know that you adopted that schedule, but I'm concerned about that schedule.
You can call meetings, if you want to.
It
There's,
cannot
yeah.
not be amended until you're on a regular schedule, until you're able to go right to a regular schedule. You're not ready.
We've already adopted we voted in the resolution, yeah, but I mean, you can call extra meetings. That's not, that's no problem, as long as you post it.
And the other thing is, I'm not sure yet, and we haven't posed the question to Mr. Gregory. He gave an answer, but I think that it's a little ambiguous the way that he phrased it, that the EDA can be on the same ticket, his ticket, as the town council. I think that he needs to establish us as a separate client, but you know, that's something that we have to work out with him. I
Okay.
mean, he's the one that knows the answer to that. I certainly don't.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
thank you. All right. Is there any other public comment? Go ahead, yeah.
Thanks so much.
Sorry, I obviously signed up on the wrong list.
That's fine. I'm taking, there's not much going on. We're a little slow tonight, so.
Good evening, Mark Sinclair, 19142 Greenway Circle in Hancock. First of all, I want to second what Rosemary said. I was surprised when I saw that the Economic Development Authority was only going to meet quarterly. After what I heard you say at the last meeting and so much needs to be done, I would think that it should be a monthly meeting all the way through the first year. And then after that, you can go quarterly all you want, but I think you need to get up and running as quick as possible. Second thing, Hill Studios. The more I listen to you all and the more I look at what was presented, I have to say that I don't think they gave you a really detailed plan. I think what you got was a generic small town Virginia plan. Here, this is what everybody else is doing. We all walked around in Hancock, you know, with them, and we talked about everything. And I'm just not seeing it in the plan. So I think the plan is a little bit on the lacking, especially since there are no dollars and cents attached to it at this point. So I think that needs to be really worked on. And then last, a minor thing, obviously big things you can't do anything about. I'm coming to you with a minor request. In front of the Wise Pharmacy, there's a Virginian Pilot newspaper box. It has been empty for over 5 years. Can't we just get rid of it? Can't we make that go away, please? And that's a little thing. I hope you all can take care of that.
Well, that's administrative function, Matt. I see he's writing it down. Okay. Are there any other public comment? No other public comment? Okay, thank you. All right, mayor's report. I don't have too much. I was gonna FOIA. I've already announced about the FOIA thing going on tomorrow night. It's gonna be should be a good session. I'd like to thank everybody with the Christmas decorations. The OBCA with the house tour. That was a really good weekend. A lot of people in town. Unfortunately, sorry about the parade. And I've heard some comments that we should have a rain date for the parade. And you know, OBCA can look at that. I think they've tried that. I don't think we've ever actually had a rain date. It's hard, yeah. But I think the town looks great. Sailboats look great and everything. And I'd like everybody to have a great holiday season. Okay, town manager's report.
Yeah, very quickly. We, on the ARPA, everything's in writing here, but so I'm gonna skip through. On the ARPA projects update yesterday, No, Friday was the sealed bid due date for the Welcome Center and for the police department. We had 3 contractors bid. There's one that's low. That person needs to go. We have to accept the lowest responsible. Responsive bid. That's our rule. Responsive means that they answered all the questions and provided all of the materials unless there's something that's sort of an insignificant piece of paper, and then they can provide it later. The low bid needs to go get a bid bond. They're gonna do that tomorrow. If they come back, then I'll be coming to you, and the architects have already reviewed the bids and said that, you know, he's a Class A contractor, he lives locally, he does good work, he's our low bid. If he gets the bid bond, then I would be coming to you to ask to write the letter of award, and he could then commence. He has all of them have 180 days from the date of the award letter to complete the project. So the sooner we get that, so that we're contingent on one thing, he needs to get the bid bond. If he does that, then I'll be coming to you to write that letter. If he doesn't or can't, then we'll move to the next vendor, who is obviously higher, but I would say the scope of those numbers, not significantly. So either way, we've got good contractors, and we can get moving pretty quickly. They're all ready to move quickly also.
Matt, is this for the Welcome Center and the police department?
Yes.
Both? Okay, because we had budgeted 100,000 for the police department and 195 for the 195,000 for the Welcome Center. We're coming in way out of that.
Remember, right, we reappropriated
Reappropriated,
several $100,000 to these projects.
which brings us to 490,000.
Right, just about right. And then, so you would have to approve the appropriation of reserves to fill the gap.
I have a question about that, Matt.
Sure.
Why would we not go ahead and use the ARPA funds for this project and then use the reserves for the remaining pieces that were in the ARPA plan?
Your control of the dollars. If you think that there's projects that are on the ARPA list that no longer deserve to be done.
Or could be done from the reserves if we choose to, right?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, why don't we, but I'm thinking, why don't we just get rid of the ARPA money so we don't have to think about it anymore? We're done with it if we use it.
Like I say, at that point, it doesn't make any difference whether we pay it from our left pocket or our right pocket.
Yeah.
But I'll pay for it from whichever pocket you choose.
I didn't think we had that much unexpended ARPA money. Is it gonna make a big difference, do we?
Yeah.
Oh,
we did.
yeah, we do.
I mean,
Close to 800,000
Yeah.
unexpended so far. Now, some of that
It's
we think we'll
allocated
use,
or
but
But I mean, I know
we could fund it from reserves.
We're not gonna, yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Well, is there any way you could give us some recommendations at so my question is, you're gonna come back to us. Don't we have to vote on this at a meeting? So we're gonna have to wait till the January meeting, or we're gonna have a special meeting?
That's up to you folks. I mean, the sooner we get this moved forward, I mean, you could give me the approval right now to write the award letter for whomever is low and responsive. And then we can get that started right away. If you choose not to do that, that's fine. We can wait till January.
I'm just trying to get a process here. Yeah.
As far as the recommendation for funding, I already gave it to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can still mess with that over the next months. And we don't have to, yeah, I mean, yeah.
The amount as of the end of November was $794,797 left in ARPA funds, which we have to commit by the end of 24. We would still have 2 more years to expend, but we have to
Right.
have it encumbered, whatever that means.
Well, yeah, yeah, what I think.
Well, it's already encumbered by
It
these
isn't.
projects.
No, it isn't.
It's not
No.
encumbered, but it's
Committed.
appropriated for a
Right,
purpose. So
right.
The example would be, we have $490,000 for this project. we could appropriate or repurpose the $65,000 that we have for stormwater up into this project. That brings us to $555.
So we're not doing stormwater, is that it? Or we did it another way
All
or?
I'm saying is that would be a
Changing
very
dollars.
easy way to start adding the numbers that we need to get up to the bid number.
I don't know
That
if
only
there's a-
takes us to $496,300 if you add in the stormwater.
We don't,
Then you go to
Like I said,
reserves.
Took the numbers that we've got and added the 65 to it.
Right?
And
I
then
did too.
said, in order to do that, plus a contingency, you're gonna have to appropriate a couple 250 to, of the reserves. Now, if we take all the other projects and just push them aside and decide we're gonna use the remaining dollars for this project, that's perfectly fine. I would say we've committed to those projects, so I want to get a written commitment.
Yeah,
So how we pay for it, I don't know that it
Yeah.
makes it.
we proceeded
money
very,
is
we
there.
proceeded very thoughtfully. When we put together this list, we did it with public input. People came and asked for funds. Council discussed this for a long time, if you remember. For us just to start randomly Xing out projects on here, I'm really not too comfortable
That's
with
not
that.
what I'm
Matt, aren't
suggesting.
you just saying that?
hold on, one at a time here. Maybe you're out of order.
I was over here first.
No,
with-
I know, let's,
Wanna hear some
Joy was still
response.
talking though.
No, but
okay.
yeah, but
Okay,
when Joy
all right.
finished, I was supposed to
Well,
go.
question back to the stormwater.
Okay, but
Do we have a plan for the stormwater? Is that just something?
Stormwater is, it's water distribution system. And the way it worked was when we get our new meters, we're gonna have to exercise all of our valves. When we go through and exercise our valve, we'll realize that we haven't done that for 50 years, and some of them are gonna be frozen and some of them are gonna be broken.
That's not stormwater.
No, it's not stormwater.
Okay, what, is it?
It's listed as stormwater. It's
Oh.
it's the system.
Okay, so it has to be done. Yes,
Well, I mean, we haven't done it for 50 years.
yeah.
So if we went through and did one at a time and just put it in our operating budget,
Yeah.
it wouldn't change anything. It would still get work done that hasn't been done for.
Well, this is back to my point about what Joy made about this is, the public didn't come to us and clamor that we do this. This is your internal recommendation. Okay, that's what, about the storm, yeah.
What are you saying? I'm sorry.
About the $60,000 for the water valves. That was an internal recommendation from us to do that. So we're not diverting public, input into that.
So you're saying you put that on the list?
Yeah.
I did, and I don't have any problem with moving it up to this project.
Yeah. And there are other things that the public was, talking about. Yeah, that's it. All right, now Mavis, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying that all the projects remain on the table. It's just shifting things around because the money is there for all,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
So everything can get done. We're just going to shift it around. And right now, the priority is that there's a bid out there to do these two big things. Let's get rolling.
All right. Well, let's go back to the, what Matt recommended. Do we want to, accept a bid contingent on the person getting a bond?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can we have a motion for that?
I just made one.
Let's make an official motion, please. And I need the dollar amount and the company.
Got you. The contractor is
Steve Piglow. 720.
Piglow.
Yeah.
So it's Steve Peglow LLC. And the lump sum base bid is $721,718.59. There's an add alternate, which basically means we've said, hey, would you price this out as well? And that was for pavers along the side between the bakery and the building. And this contractor, I'm just gonna read what he wrote. It says contractor to give brick pavers option to the town of Anacog as an in-kind donation.
Nice.
The others were $11,000 and $8,000 for that same, so you know the value of his gift. And the 721 was also lower by 10 grand.
Okay, do I have a motion, Ray?
Are you ready? Are you prepared to? I'd like to move forward with the project to award it to
The lowest responsive.
The low,
bidder.
the lowest responsive bidder that is determined by Mr. Spuck.
Contingent on them getting a bond.
Yeah.
Contingent on them.
Yeah, they would not be responsive if they didn't get a bond.
Okay.
If they, that will be contingent on them receiving their bond.
Okay, do we have a second on that?
Second.
Discussion?
When do you expect them to start?
Well, assuming they
Ballpark.
can get their, if they go to their insurance company and get their bid bond tomorrow, I could write them the letter of award, you know, from South Carolina Wednesday. And then once we have that, then they have 6 months to complete. They're the company that's doing the work over at Escadив on their transitional housing units right now. So they've got their subs in town. They live close by, so I would imagine that they would want to get moving pretty quickly.
Okay. All right, any further discussion on this?
Yeah, I want to clarify my comments, make sure everyone understands what I'm saying. I'm not suggesting we throw out any projects. I'm just suggesting we use the ARPA money so we don't have to think about it every month, worry about whether we're going to get it spent in time, get it encumbered in time, whatever the federal definition of that might be. But we just shift the funding and expend these funds while we have them, then move the other projects over to the reserves. That's my suggestion. I just wanted to clarify it.
We can just talk about that further in meeting. All right, all in favor of Ray's motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, do we need a roll call vote on this or not? Just, that's fine.
No, I think you're.
Okay, all righty. Anything else? I guess, financial reports, Matt?
Yeah, the financial report again is looking very strong, partially and mostly because we're billing for the sewer collection and paying at a wholesale rate. So for right now, that's going well. We got our last vehicle. It took 2 years and 3 months to get that truck from Ford. I can't even tell you how frustrating that was. So we've got all of the vehicles. We're going to pass that over to USDA. So we're going to get the grant and loan funds to offset what we've already written the checks. So we'll have another little bit of an infusion.
Question on the HRSD, what's the status of the pump stations?
Their attorney is having difficulty with one of our pump stations because that owner has 3 mortgages on the property. And you have to go to each mortgage company and basically convince them that the property that the pump station sits on does not add material value or detract from the value that they have in that property. Some of the mortgage companies that they've done business with are very challenging and they want to be paid. And that causes a completely different conversation for HRSD, including removing it from their ownership without their permission.
Removing what from whose ownership?
Eminent domain to the property on
Okay.
the pump stations.
So it seems as though, well, I think previously it's been more than one that was an issue, but is this one, how long has this one been in negotiation? Like since the summer at least?
At least 9 months, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Any crystal ball
no,
progress or,
no.
I mean, is it just at a stalemate or?
No, I think that they're going back and forth about the fact that they're not gonna pay them for the pump station. If the mortgage company chooses to retain ownership of that, they're required to provide a license for operating a public utility. So eventually this will pass. This will
Okay.
pass.
Thank you.
You know, until then, it helps the town. Because
Exactly.
HRSD, I have to say, they're
Yeah.
a great company and they've been super to work with and they've taken care of all the problems, even the ones that aren't technically theirs.
It's to our advantage for it to take as long as it takes. Page 27, Matt, on police vehicles, it's 283% over budget.
Yeah,
Is that
because-
reimbursed?
Yes,
Okay,
that's exactly the line item that We'll be getting a reimbursement from USDA for the grant and for the loan. So that'll bring it back down to the normal payment.
So we have, now that we only have 4 officers, do we still have 5 cars? So we haven't one sitting around or just rotating? Okay, right, okay. All right, any other questions for Matt? Okay, council comments, Ray?
Do we want to do managers report?
That's what he just did.
I thought that was financial.
No, he did that before. We're
Okay,
talking about ARPA,
sorry.
remember? Yeah.
I have sort of more of a question probably. I like the technology advancements here with the 2 screens. Would it be helpful? I think maybe helpful to have sometimes some illustrations shown on the screens, like for example, the light fixtures or like a property lot or something we have questions about. Would that be something the scientists
I
could
thought
figure
that-
out?
That's what we're working on for next time. My commitment is that the budget will be up on these screens while people
Yeah.
sitting remotely will be able to experience that joy.
Because we could have like a dual inputs onto there or add a monitor, something
Yeah,
that would,
yeah. We're working on that.
Great.
The last time we tried with the agenda was not.
Yeah.
all successful.
all right, thank you.
Joy?
Yeah, in your town manager's report, you say that the duckbill at the wharf will likely be reappropriated. We had Clark Nexum, who is from Norfolk, and that was their, other than raising the wharf and putting in buffers, that was their recommendation. And they're the marine architects.
Yeah, we have one on the bulkhead, the new bulkhead that we put in last year over in the Ballard's parking lot.
Yeah,
It doesn't work
why is that?
because when the water comes up over the top of the bulkhead, it doesn't matter what's going on down below. So that's what's happening is the water is going over the bulkhead when it floods.
Right,
So a duckbill underneath that keeps the water out doesn't do any good
agree.
because the water's just going to the top.
because you heard their presentation too, so.
Yeah.
So you-
If it was just parking lot drainage, like stormwater, like a big rain event going into the basin, and it could flow out the pipe. However, a lot of our flooding is due to tidal flooding. So
Right.
when it doesn't have a place to outfall.
I remember them saying it would stop the water spout in the parking lots. It's not done that.
Well, yes, it stopped the water spout, but it doesn't stop the water from coming over.
It's
the
tidal
bulkhead. So,
flooding. Yeah,
Yeah, once it comes over the top, that doesn't do any good.
okay.
Okay.
Yes, I have one other thing. To end the year on a good, happy note, I have exciting news. A group of residents are exploring the possibility of establishing Village to Villages in Anancock. So what is Villages to Villages? It is a community-driven, nonprofit membership organization that provides meaningful social connections and practical assistance to people who want to live independently in their own homes for as long as possible. We will be meeting and updating you with every detail. It's very much in the beginning planning stages, but we did have the Village to Villages coordinator from Chincoteague come and speak to us, Lisa Cannon, and I think this is doable. So just wanted to give you a heads up. Good things are coming.
Cindy?
Sorry, may I ask
Sure.
a question about that? So is that a broader organization that you're looking at tapping into, or is this an initial initiation of a whole new thing that's never been, or how does?
It's a national network that we will use their resources. However, we will be the Anancock Villages to Villages.
Right.
And there's lots of discussion at this point. Should it be just in the town limits? Should it be out? There's a lot to consider. It's going to take a while to get going, but we're hopeful.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask Matt, and I'm not looking for a new date, about the website. Is there an alternative to you having to load information onto that site that would assist in getting it up? Because I know you're overworked, and with the construction projects, you're going to be even more overworked. And so this one kind of goes to the back. But can you think of any alternative that would help you accomplish that?
It would have to be somebody that knows how to use WordPress, and it would have to be somebody who knows the town very, very well, because the reason it's out there is to put information out there. So I couldn't outsource it to somebody in Norfolk because they don't know town. You know, they don't know what garbage day is. They don't know when, where the recycle bins are and all that kind of stuff. So I would say it would be complicated, but I'm a long way from being irreplaceable, So I actually like doing it because it makes me think that somebody's looking for help and how would they find it and that type of thing. So I'm having a good time doing it. It's just taking a lot longer than I had anticipated. That's all. So,
Well, I do know that there
wide
are,
open for ideas.
are people locally that are conversant in WordPress. So perhaps that would be an option, just to assist you with some of the simpler parts. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Close at this point. I'm working on the APIs with some of the other software that we're interfacing with. So at this point, it's, the content's closer. But the interfacing with some of the other software is where we're working now.
Thanks.
I just want to wish everybody a joyful, healthy, happy holiday season, and to know that we're all one family still.
And to add on that, a happy, healthy new year with lots of joy to everybody.
Thank you.
And to say congratulations and thank you again to everybody who worked on the stuff the second weekend. My cousin and her husband came over from the Richmond area, came Friday evening, spent the night. Were here through middle of the day Saturday, specifically to be on the bridge to watch Santa come in with the kayaks.
Mhm.
And they loved it. So it was just a great
think we had-
event, and they really seemed to be pleased to be here.
I think there were like 380 people, weren't there? Something like that on there. Yeah, count a lot of people. All righty. Do we have a motion to adjourn? I do. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Golly, we have a closed session. Okay. Yeah. All right. Somebody want to read off the closed session?
I move we go into closed session to discuss real estate matters as allowed by State Code Paragraph 2.2-3711A3.
We have a second on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?